Hey folks, welcome back to the PropLinq AI podcast, the show where I speak with founders, brokers, technologists, and operators reshaping the property industry. I'm Stuart Quintal, founder of PropLinq AI, and we help businesses grow faster with AI tools that streamline workflows and drive better lead outcomes. Today I'm joined by Cody Doran from SVN, one of the most interesting brokers I've spoken to in commercial real estate. From studying accounting to becoming a top performing multifamily broker in the affordable housing space. Cody's journey is anything but boring. He co-leads one of the most active secondary market teams in the US and brings a refreshing, no bullshit attitude to real estate. Focus on collaboration, client impact, and building lasting networks. Let's dive in. Cody, welcome.
Thank you, Stuart. Pleasure to be here.
Look, let's kick off from the beginning. You didn't sort of start in real estate. Can you tell us how you made the leap from accounting into brokerage?
Yeah, so no, I did not start in the real estate business. I was in accounting, had an accounting degree, and got started working for a private company, and met my now mentor and partner, Reed Bennett. I was working with his brother, Kyle Bennett. We were best friends, and we'd pal around the city of Chicago, and we'd go out and frequent pubs. And as we were drinking, I'd have conversations with Reed, and he would tell me about all the deals he was doing. And specifically, there was one that I always remember where he was just like, "Yeah, we just closed the deal. The commission was $745,000," and my eyes just, went bug-eyed. And I was just like, I just thought every deal was that big. So going back to the accounting, our company was in business for a while. We're in the semiconductor business, got affected by the GFC, and we're highly leveraged, unfortunately. And once the money ran out, we had to close our doors on the semiconductor business. But before we had closed the doors on the semiconductor company, my boss had actually started buying real estate as well. And I think that's all kind of where Reed and I kind of met. He was trying to help with, because he was a broker, and he was trying to help my boss source properties. The thing that didn't fit there was that Reed was more on the multifamily front, and we were looking for office. But what it did was it opened my eyes to real estate, and I started looking at acquisitions with my boss, and I really, really started gravitating towards real estate. And so when we went under, Reed was just like, "Hey, I really think you could be really good in the sales division. I know you're in accounting, but you could use your financial background to, help underwrite deals." And then he's just like, "From what I can tell, you're pretty good with people." And so, I made the leap. He had said, "Hey, why don't you consider this?" I was actually considering it, but I went to my now wife, and I was like, hey, babe, what do you think about me jumping into sales? Thinking she would say, "No, that's not for you. You're more of an accountant type of guy." And she was just like, "No, I think you'd be great at it." So I ended up jumping into real estate.
Yep. Now, starting during the GFC or around the GFC is pretty gutsy, but how did those early years shape your mindset and your approach to deals that you do today?
Yeah, great question. What it did allow me, and what Reed had said, and I don't know if I really necessarily believed him at the time because I was so scared to get out of my comfort zone. But he just said a lot of investment sales, otherwise known as brokers. We call ourselves ISA now, trying to be cooler, I guess. So investment sales advisors. He's just like, a lot of these guys are getting out of the business. They don't see a commission coming in the near term. He's just like, "I think now would be a really good time to jump in, learn the business while it's really, really slow, and reach out to people and really create a name." And he was 100% right. I started, I started talking to the guys, CEOs of just top corporations, and calling them and saying, "Hey, can I buy you a coffee?" And nobody was doing that at the time. Nobody was buying anybody anything because nobody had any money during the GFC. It was a very, very scary time for commercial real estate. So these guys were just like, "Who are you?" And yeah, of course I'll take a coffee. And what those conversations did for me is I'm just a naturally curious person. So I would just ask questions, and I would just sit back and listen, and they would just talk, and they would tell me everything. So in those meetings, I learned more, but also in those meetings, which to anybody new to this business or anybody that's going to be in investment sales, your goal is always to get a meeting because that's how you establish a relationship. You establish trust. So I didn't realize it at the time, but I was doing basically two-pronged approach. I was creating trust and building a relationship where really I just wanted to meet somebody and just talk real estate. So that's what I used to my advantage. And to Reed's credit, it was very, very good advice.
Yep. Now, when you've now sort of, you and Reed Bennett have sort of carved out a focus in the affordable housing and secondary tertiary markets. What's why this niche, and also I guess what drew you into that?
Yeah, so it was a little bit of two reasons why we started getting out of the city of Chicago and Cook County. A lot of our clients, for tax reasons and just other reasons, political reasons, were getting out of the city. So we were following our clients, and then we were also noticing that there just wasn't as much competition. So we could take our SVN approach of an international company to these private, mom and pop shops is what we call them in the industry. Private clients, and say, hey, we'll give you like a class A type of marketing approach. We'll get it out to the whole market. We'll create a bigger field, which is going to create, more value for you and your property. And there's just less competition out there. So we started making our names out in secondary and tertiary markets. And we've really, really streamlined our approach to how we're doing that. There's 3 people on our team now, Reed, myself, and we have, I wouldn't really consider him a junior anymore. He's been with us for 2 years. His name's Dan Short. So what we do is we take A, B, and C's. We group everybody in our prospects into A's, B's, or C's. Everybody has 108 clients. Those are the guys that are actively doing deals. They are trading. They're buying. They're selling. Mostly buying. And each of us have 100 of those guys. Those are the guys you have a really good relationship. They pick up the phone every time, and you want to do business with them. Then we have another group that we call our Bs, which are everybody's supposed to have 300 Bs. And the 300 Bs are guys that maybe not have as many properties as the A's or just aren't as active as the A's, so you don't need to be reaching out to them and talking to them as much. And once you have 400 guys in your Rolodex, what we do is our systematic approach is you're calling your A's every month. You're talking to them every month. Hey, how's it going? And we have scripted approaches if you need those. But most of those guys we've been talking to, we've been those 15, 20 years. It's more of a follow-up just to see how they're doing, see if there's anything that we can provide, be a resource to them to help what they're trying to accomplish. The B's we're reaching out to quarterly. So the way that we look at that is if you're hitting 400 people and there's 3 of us, we're hitting 1,200 people every quarter. We should be able to have a pretty strengthy, and a strong pipeline and continued business. So that's kind of our systematic approach to how we prospect and how we really, really drive our pipeline.
Okay. I mean, you sort of just started to go into the pipeline and your workflow, I guess. What are the tools or systems that are essential to manage that 400 clients every quarter?
Yeah. Anybody that's out there that's still working off an Excel spreadsheet, stop. Get a CRM. We use RealNex. RealNex is pretty dynamic. It was made by brokers. It's a very, very good tool. Like I said, you don't have to go that far. It's a little bit more expensive. There's some other ones. Find a CRM that at minimum can attach a client to a property, and you can have notes that interact with all 3 of them, because it's essential, at least in my opinion, to keep notes. So if I call you, Stuart, and I say, hey, I know you've got this 50 unit property and we just sold one down the street and blah, blah, you're not ready to sell, but we have a conversation, you start talking about, I'm going on vacation. I'm going to bring that up in our next conversation. Hey, Stuart, how was your vacation? As a tool to establish trust, right? That's more on the sales side, but that's what we're doing pretty much throughout our marketplace to really drive our business.
Cool. What, after 15 odd years, what keeps you motivated year after year?
I mean, I love this business. A lot of it's really the same, you know, it's a lot of the same processes, but everything's different. Every assignment I've worked on, I've learned something new.
Mhm.
Um, whether it just be with financing, whether it just be, somebody needs something, something came up in an inspection. There's always something new that you learn in this business, and that's what I love about it. The other thing I love about it is like every property can look the same but be completely different. Whether it's just brand different, whether it's just a unit mix that's different, and then where people take them. One guy might renovate one completely to make it look like a Class A Taj Mahal. One guy might just keep it as is.
Yep.
And it's always interesting to see what the difference in rent is and the delta between those two, and then how we can talk to other clients about, well, this guy's doing this over here and this guy's doing this, and well, if you do something in between, you know, that's what I love about real estate is there's no what's the word I'm looking for? There's no right way to do things. Everybody's kind of got their own way to do things, and some are more successful than others.
Yep. Now, like the growth you've seen, how do you approach hiring or partnering with other brokers or offices?
You know,
What do you see as being somebody being great in this space?
we try to work with everybody. Unfortunately, I think on the multifamily side of things in this niche space, even on the affordable side, market rate and affordable side, we don't tend to be working too much together. We proactively, as SBN, are always pushing. We will share our fee and we want to invite people. But when you are the listing broker, you control the deal and you control the process, and it's very hard to be, a buyer rep in that situation. The other thing is, after you've been doing this 15, 20 years, you know the major players, and the likelihood of you not knowing the guy that's going to end up buying what you're listing is pretty rare. Um, but that being said, for any other brokers out there that are quote unquote our competitors, if we have a listing, we want to work with you. So please bring your best clients to our deals. We'd love to work with you. We'd love to share our fee with you, and do what's best for our client.
Yep. Where now with I guess the post COVID, you saw everyone abandon cities and move go out to the suburbs. Are you seeing any changes now, like 5 years on, 4 years on from that? Are you seeing any opportunities, or where's the next spot or market that you're seeing as an opportunity?
Well, I think emerging markets, pretty much everybody knows about this one, but Northwest Arkansas, where Walmart is exploding right now. It's also called Bentonville. I'm always a big fan of the Carolinas. I always like things by water, natural water. So I like the Midwest because of the Great Lakes. So I think being by water is key, at least for me. And I think the emerging markets, probably 50 years and further down the line, that's going to be more of a hot button. But I think what COVID did is people do want to be more outside. They want to get outside, they want to get fresh
Yeah.
air. So if you're going to be looking for an emerging market, look for something that's got good outdoors and good hiking, good trails, which would be mountainous states, in my opinion, rolling hills. So I like the Midwest. The Sun Belt's always going to be hot, and no pun intended, but just because of the weather down there, it's hard to compete with. People want to be
Yep.
warm, so you're always going to have the snowbirds, and as people get older, they want to retire where it's warmer. So you're always going to have a good market down there too. But if you're looking for an emerging market, I think you got to go find something that's a little bit more, I'm not going to say rural, but something that's outside of a major market, a core market that's got good economic drivers. That's where you're going to find a lot of growth.
Yep. Okay. Now we touched on some of this briefly, but from the tech or automation perspective, are you seeing any opportunity for AI or systems to help make life easier, either for the brokers, clients, or even investors?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that AI can do, and it's going to get scary. Really scary. It's already scary in my opinion, but AI helps us in our processes on a daily basis. When we're putting together marketing materials, it's a lot easier to just say, hey, whether you use Chat, Perplexity, or I don't know all of the AI um, platforms, but they do help us in our efficiency when we're putting together marketing materials. We also use one for, it's called a listing launcher. So AI can also, similar to a chatbot, can answer questions. So if you want to ask questions, and if we do all the background to answer those questions, so while we're sleeping, somebody could actually be asking questions about a property that we have on the market, and our AI chatbot will actually answer those questions. So, we can hopefully expedite the marketing process and get it under contract quicker, because one thing in our business that everybody knows is time kills deals. So the more time it's out there, the more likelihood of something bad happening. So AI is definitely going to, I'm not going to say it's going to disrupt our business. It's definitely going to enhance it in what we can do. I think the part that gets scary is if people start using it to make phone calls and prospecting calls.
Yep.
That's going to get scary, as if you're not really talking to a real human.
Yeah, I mean, there's some people that are trialing it, and some
Yeah.
people are using it. And I've seen an AI bot that's apparently done $100 million in sales in real estate deals on off-plan developments. But yeah, I don't know how it's closing them, but yeah, it's a company that's promoting that, especially in this region. What are some of the other metrics, or what are some of the metrics that you look at, I guess, from a daily, besides the 400 calls every quarter, or what are some of the other metrics that you track? Is it days on market? Every property is obviously going to be different, but what are the things that you track from a business perspective?
If we're hunting for properties, metrics that we're tracking, loan maturities. So if something's coming due, we want to be on the
Mm-hmm.
phone. Because we've got lenders that, if they're not looking to sell, can refinance the property, so we can
Yep.
help from a service standpoint there. Um, we're always looking at price per door and other transactions to see what's going on in the market. One thing that we do internally, besides the 400, is our connections. So, are you making 400 phone calls, and how many people are you actually talking to? And then, of those conversations, are they good conversations and productive conversations that are leading to meetings slash business, or is it just, hey, Stuart, how's your day? Great, good talking to you. See you later. Nothing productive. So depends on which metrics we're talking about. So those, connections are very, very important. Um, and then from a metrics, from just like looking at deals, we're looking at cap rates. We don't look at them too much, because I think cap rates are very arbitrary, and every
Mm-hmm.
deal is a little bit different. So we use them as a sanity check, but I wouldn't say that we put too much credence behind them, because there's usually a story behind why that cap rate is that cap rate. So you really got to know the deal. Um, and that's another thing you got to do on the investment sales side. You got to know what deals are trading, so you know exactly why that cap rate and that price per door um, was achieved. So
Yep.
those are some of the metrics that we follow.
Okay. Now, a business operational question that I like to ask is, if you had either a magic wand that you could fix, a problem, operationally, marketing, business, fix one sort of problem instantly, or one high priority ticket item, what would that be?
But say that question, because I have two answers. Are we just talking about from a global perspective, or are we talking about from a
No,
business perspective?
business perspective. Yeah, yeah.
If I could change something, um, wait, say the question one more time, sir.
So if you had a magic wand and you could wave that over your business to fix one, high priority problem, either operationally, sales, business, technology, what would that be? What would that problem be that you'd want to fix immediately?
If I could do everything myself and not rely on other people, if I could
It's not
wave
very,
that wand and just put all of it under my control, that would be great,
it's not
because
very collaborative of you.
we, we can't. once we get it under contract, it's kind of out of our hands. It's just like, are we gonna get paid or not? Is this gonna make it? Is the financing gonna go through? That would be helpful.
Yeah.
Also, communication. Some of our buyers, and they just prefer to go dark once they get a deal under contract, so you don't really know where things are, and that's really hard from my standpoint when I'm trying to tell my client what's going on, and
Yep.
you know prioritizes expectations of what's going to happen with the deal. It makes things harder if a problem comes up to react to it if you have zero knowledge, and they just kind of smack you on a Friday at 4:30 p.m. as you're heading home. Oh, by the way, we just found this, and so communication is another big key thing in our industry. So I would say control, communication, and then timing. If we could speed things up, it'd be
Yep.
great. You think with AI and all the stuff we're doing with AI, things would get faster, but I think in our business, things have kind of gotten slower since COVID. Things are
Okay.
taking longer, but that might also be a product of the market, and just things are just you know things are changing, so it's taking a little bit longer to adjust.
Yep. All right. Now, finally, like where do you personally and professionally see your focus over the next 18 months?
The next 12 months is we've done very, very well this year, but we've got to fill our pipeline back up. Pipeline's starting to get low, so we need to work on that. I'm also trying to buy a property personally. I'd like to buy my
Okay.
first investment property, so we're looking at some assets right now to buy on the GP side. I think it's always good to have something. We don't want to compete with what we're doing, so trying to look at stuff that's outside of what we do.
Hmm.
But to be in this business, I think to own is also beneficial. To tell your clients that you also own is beneficial. But also when times get bad and the market and velocity slows down, it's good to have some you know, income on the other side too.
Yep.
So
Well,
that's what we're trying to focus on here in the next 12 months, and then always be better, and then meet guys like you to expand our business and our footprint. We really, really do like what we do, and we're going to continue doing it. We're in it for the long haul.
great. Well, look, Cody, thanks. Thanks for sharing your insights and pulling back the curtain of what it takes to be successful in a commercial real estate business, especially in the various cycles. Especially you've gone through the various cycles over the last 10, 15 years. Really appreciate it. And for those who are listening and want to connect or find out more about deals or learn more about what you're doing, where's the best place for people to reach out?
Yeah, if you guys want to talk anything multifamily on the market rate or affordable housing side, so Section 42 low income housing tax credits or project based Section 8 HAP contracted properties, you can reach me on my cell phone, which is 309-235-0995, or you can reach me email Cody, CODY, period, Doran, DORAN, at SVN.com. You can also visit our website, svn.com, chicagosvn.com, and find our listings and information there as well.
Great. I'll pop some of those details in the comments section. And for our listeners, you can find out about the full episode on Spotify or YouTube. And if you're a real estate business curious about how AI can help scale your leads and systems, head to PropLinq AI. Thanks again, Cody, and we'll catch everyone on the next episode.
Sounds great, Stuart.
All right.